It is my privilege to welcome and introduce our 2023 commencement speaker, Mr. Kareem Rosser. In the winter of, hold your applause. In the winter of 2021, I was at my local Barnes & Noble bookstore, browsing the bookshelves and book tables, and saw a book that piqued my interest. Crossing the Line, a fearless team of brothers and the sport that changed their lives forever. I am all in, for those who know me, when it comes to sports, so I picked it up, and in the few pages that I read, I was hooked. I bought the book, finished it in a couple of days, and then I stalked Facebook to see if I could connect with Kareem about speaking to our students. We were able to connect, and Kareem was gracious enough to do a Q&A back in 2021. Fast forward to this moment, Kareem has been gracious with his time and is here to address our graduating class of 2023. Kareem is from right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He received a BA in economics from Colorado State University. While at CSU, he led his collegiate polo team to a national polo championship. At the same time, he was honored as the Intercollegiate Polo Player of the Year. After graduation, Kareem began working as a financial analyst at an asset management firm. He also serves as the executive director of a nonprofit fundraising arm called Friends of Work to Ride. He started from the bottom, and now he's here. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Kareem Rosser.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I just want to thank Michael for that great introduction and the staff and faculty behind me. Before I start, Cass, I'm just going to ask you to stand up for a second. And I'm sorry, I just want to put you on the spot here, because her words pulled on my heartstrings. You know, what you said was incredible, and you delivered it so well, and it touched me in so many ways because, you know, little did you know I was going to talk about a similar experience today. And I just want to commend you for your bravery, for being honest, for being true with yourself, for just sticking along with the ride and going through the ups and downs. I know what it's like to struggle. So I'm sorry that I put you on the spot, but it really, really touched me, and I just wanted to give you a round of applause, so thank you so much. So little many of you know, adjacent to this campus here, about 12 years ago, I was sitting in a similar seat graduating from Valley Forge Military Academy. So this moment is a full circle moment for me to see you all, and it's hard for me, and I don't really personally know any of you, to not get emotional. Because when I think about commencement and what it truly means, and I think about where I came from in a neighborhood in West Philadelphia that's called The Bottom. So when Mr. Michael said The Bottom, I literally came from the bottom, and that was a neighborhood that I came from. You know, my mother has equivalent of a middle school education. So education was never a priority in my family. We spent majority of our time trying to figure out how to survive in a neighborhood in West Philadelphia. So when I see all of you and I see all the parents and I hear Cass's story, it just makes me emotional. And I'm trying not to cry. I don't even know any of you, but it's just incredible. You know, so I just want to share a little story, and Cass, you may be able to relate to this. And, you know, when I showed up to Valley Forge Military Academy back in 2006, I showed up with a bag of toiletries and hope. I had no idea what to expect, what I was getting myself into. I had an idea that I wanted to change my life, maybe go on a different path than many of my cousins and my siblings, my aunts, my uncles, my mother. But I knew I was ready for a change. So I walked onto that campus as an oblivious kid from West Philly, fragile, not much confidence. And my first week in school, I had a teacher. Her name was Colonel Green. She was this little old lady who believed in me, and I had no idea. So one day, it was time for everyone to read out loud in class. So Colonel Green, she said Rosser. They called me Rosser. We were called by our last names at military school. She asked me to stand up and to read this passage to the class. I stood there for 2 minutes before I actually decided to stand up. Then I looked at my peers, my classmates at the time, and then I started to mumble words. And I started to try to read out loud, and I realized that I was stumbling over my words. I was stumbling because I couldn't read or I could write. I could barely write. I could barely count. That was a changing moment in my life. That's when I realized that I was about to change my life, and I was going to break that vicious cycle that has claimed the lives of so many of my family members and friends. I was going to become the first one in my family to graduate high school. I was going to learn how to read, I was going to learn how to write, and I was going to learn how to count. So from that moment on, I told Colonel Green that I was going to show up to her class and I was going to change my life. And she said, okay. So I showed up every day. My first few report cards were D's and F's, and that was me trying. So I fast forward a few years. By the time my junior year, I made honor roll. By the time my senior year comes around, I'm graduating in the top 10 of my class. But similar to what Cass said, there's moments of doubt, and I had a conversation earlier just talking about just showing up and what that means. Even sometimes when you have that self-doubt, and as you said, having that devil or that monkey on your shoulder who's whispered in your ear and telling you that you can't do it. But sometimes you got to dig really deep, and find that little piece inside you that can push you forward. And I did that. So I want to leave you with this. Commencement is a meaningful ceremony, but it's not the final goal you've been working towards. Instead, it's part of the larger journey of life. Wherever your future takes you, let it take you somewhere. Life is a journey, and all accomplishments we achieve during its course should be taken as starting points for further achievement. Your graduation should serve as a launching point, projecting you to where your futures are meant to take you. Whether it's a new career or continuing your education. As you make your transition, you will inevitably face new challenges. For example, I began working as a financial analyst a few weeks after graduation. The first 6 months were overwhelming. I struggled to maintain a healthy work-life balance. There were moments, like my time at college, I wanted to quit. However, I look back at my struggles as a high school student and how I persevered. I failed multiple tests and lost many games as a student athlete. I did not let the failing moments define me. Instead, I used it as motivation to pursue a greater goal, to become the first member of my family to receive a college degree. We all have the honors of calling ourselves high school graduates. Now it's time to put the knowledge you gained over the last 4 years to use. PA Leadership Charter School has equipped you with the tools to create your own plan. You must remember, creating a plan does not mean success will come overnight. As we sometimes experience, life forces us to adjust. For instance, the pandemic delayed my first significant capital raise as the lead analyst. I did not let the challenges of the virus dictate my success. I pivoted slightly and remained patient. There will be moments you will feel discouraged, but you have proven to be resilient. You have received an education from an incredible institution. I know you're prepared. You're about to close one door while simultaneously open a new one. I'm encouraging you to walk through this with confidence. As I said before, life is a journey. You do not stop growing once you get your diploma. Today, you have a lot to celebrate. Enjoy this moment. Best of luck to all of you, and congratulations. Thank you.